The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. All right, everybody, let's get right to it. I want to talk about the Cup race. First, we're going to mix it up a little bit. This is Andrew's idea, in case you don't like it. Andrew and Dalton are here.
I'm going to stand behind this idea.
Yeah, you stand behind it. You better. The reason why we're doing this is actually a good one because our race winner, Daniel Suárez, is going to call in. And so let's be talking about that Cup race he won. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. I said that this would be the hottest ticket or is the hottest ticket. I think that showed up this weekend in the Cup race. I got to be in the booth last year and I had no idea what I was going to see, or I had no idea how entertained I was going to be. And I think because of how great that race was that I saw in the booth, I felt like that was my best work as a broadcaster. And just an incredible night. Walked out of there feeling like I was on top of the world and had just been, entertained to the fullest. I love short track racing and feel like some of our best, our best product over the last decade or decade and a half has been at Martinsville and places like that where we have the fireworks and so forth. I've always said if we could bottle up some of the things that happen at some of the short track races, if we could have that every week, we need more short tracks. But for the first time in a very, very long time, a track outside of that sort of short track world has entertained me in the biggest way. And I said, this is the hottest ticket, and I really believe that. And it proved out this past Sunday with a great race. The drivers complained about the reconfiguration and narrowing up the track. Hell, we had guys 4 wide for a few laps. Nobody loves a repave. You're never going to love a repave. I don't care what track it is. Every track's going to have to be repaved at some point, no matter what track it is. We've got through the first year or two to be able to allow this surface to age. It's starting to change color, starting to lose grip. They're starting to have to lift, getting into turn 3. Handling is just as important as your car's ability to draft. It was a really great combination that I believe will continue to get even better. And if you're going to go to a race, I'm going to change the ticket I'm going to tell you to buy. I used to tell people to go to Bristol Night or Daytona 500. One of those two were going to lock you in as a race fan if you had never seen it in person. Now I'm going to tell you to go to Atlanta.
Dang. Big accusation there.
Yeah.
Atlanta needs to make some changes and improvements to the facility. They will. When you're not selling a lot of tickets, you can't invest in the concourse and things like that like you wish you could. But I know Marcus, and as the fans start to show more interest in coming to his races, he'll provide the amenities that you would expect. And I hope that he kind of goes the route that he went with Vegas, where they do a lot of third-party vendors. They come in, it allows these food trucks and all these people to come in and just have these big spreads, all types of different foods to eat. It's really, really cool. Could be something we see at Atlanta coming forward, but I know that they'll have to ramp it up a little bit to give all these fans that I believe will be buying tickets to these races a great experience. Another thing that I think we got to remember is Atlanta, as we know it now, was developed through iRacing. We forget about that, right? Marcus was like, hey, Atlanta's dying. It was. Lost the date. Nobody was coming. Empty grandstands. Drivers liked it, but the fans said the racing was boring. Marcus had 2 options. Dig it up and rebuild it, or close it entirely. He invested millions of dollars in the reconfiguration, and 20 years ago, it would have been a massive gamble. Not knowing really whether it's going to work or not, you're going to spend millions of dollars moving a lot of dirt, putting down a lot of pavement, hoping for the best. But with iRacing, he was able to go to Boston and say, hey, man, can y'all put this in a virtual world? Can we try it out? Can we put these, race cars out there on iRacing and allow these drivers, your sim racers, some of the best sim racers in the world, to pick this apart, tell us what they hate about it, what's not good, what we need to fix, what they do like, and say that saved millions of dollars. It took all the guesswork and the gamble out that a reconfiguration can have. So I think Auto Club, Fontana's future success will depend on how much they have and will lean on iRacing. Chicago, the street course, was vetted and improved through months of simulation on iRacing before becoming a reality. Anything that ever may happen to Texas, if it ever does, will be done through iRacing.
I was going to ask about Texas.
Yeah. Marcus now will go to iRacing anytime that he wants to consider doing something to his racetracks and say, hey, let's hammer and let's run this through the system, man. Let's beat this up. Let's poke a bunch of holes in this and figure out why we should or shouldn't do it. And so that's something that's pretty cool. Just a fantastic race. A lot of crashing. A lot of people complained about the wrecks and the cars. A lot of things getting torn up. Rick Hendrick said, though, if the fans love it, we need to keep doing it. Drivers were getting out of the cars saying, I had fun. And even Larson, that doesn't really love that style of racing, said, I had a great time. Good stuff. You love to hear it. The drivers, they're going to be honest. They can't tell a lie. And so, they were worried about the reconfiguration. Now we're gotten to a point to where they're warming up to it. They don't want to do it every week. I wouldn't either. Nobody wants this every week. Nobody's asking for it every week. It's an anomaly. It's unique. It needs to stay that way. This needs to be something that we only see in Atlanta. And it won't always be this way. I mean, quickly this racetrack is going to lose grip. The style of racing we see there will change every time they go back there. This race that we saw this weekend, this 3-wide finish, that's probably only going to sustain for a couple more years before the track will lose so much grip. Handling will be even more and more important. You'll start to see little discrepancy between the drivers and the teams that do have their cars ready for that long run, and getting cars 3 wide coming to the finish line will be more and more difficult as handling and the grip goes away.
Daniel Suárez, actually, if you remember that 550 package that NASCAR was trying at the 1.5 miles years ago, he said this was like the best hybrid version of what NASCAR was trying to achieve and the actual result they got on the track. And he said they had less grip than that 550 package. So that's, they were definitely struggling for grip out there.
Yeah. I like what I saw. Only thing that I really, if there's one thing that I would say, gosh, I wish this could be better, it's how bad the cars lose the front grip when they get behind each other. Like, they cannot get close to each other. I know fans don't even probably pick up on that. I know that NASCAR and everybody that saw this as this massive success, myself included, nobody. Why do we want to care about that? Right. It was great. Basically, if you watch the race, Joe Logano goes up the racetrack, and that's a tight exit. Turn 2's kind of always been that way. But when he gets in the wake of the cars in front of him, he has to jump out of the gas. He gets ran into from the 17, and it's this big crash. And you'll see a lot of guys have these massive runs down the front straightaway, and they want to jump to the outside and jump to the top of the racetrack. But if they do make that commitment and the car in front of them also goes up there, they're going to lose the nose and smack the wall. I mean, there's not an area for them to, there's not a moment for them to recover. The car just has a big wake. And so when you get behind another car and you're pushing them down the front straightaway, to be able to turn into the corner and have any kind of reasonable corner without losing a lot of grip and losing the nose and having to lift. You have to back off and let the car in front of you get a little bit further away so that when you drive into the corner, you got a little air on the nose. You can't follow them into the corner on their bumper. Man, when I was racing cars in 2000, 2004, I could drive into the corner right on somebody's ass, push them into the corner, push them through the corner. Not a chance of doing it with this car.
Do you think that plays at all into the racing product, though? That it is a little bit more of a degree of difficulty that you can't follow someone that close?
So it is. It is a challenge when you're pushing somebody down the front straightaway. You want to stay locked on their bumper, or you want to drive into the corner and push them up the racetrack and drive under them, drive by them. You can't. You got to lift and allow the air to get back on the nose of your car or back under your car so that you can therefore go through the next corner. And so it's this, Truex talked about it. He's like, man, one corner you're plowing, one corner you're sideways. You got to know where your car is, compared to where everyone else is and how that's going to make your car handle. Yes, I love that challenge. I like the drivers sort of having to figure out the Rubik's Cube every lap, right? It's tough mentally, so tough.
Yeah.
But I do wish they could tone down a little bit about why, how this car does lose a ton of grip when following another one very, very close. Because the act of one guy getting to another's bumper is something that I never want to impede in this sport, ever.
Yeah.
Right? And it does. It's difficult for them to corner closely.
Yeah.
They cannot drive through any corners right on each other's ass. They can't. This car can't do it. And so I don't like that.
Yeah.
All right. I shouldn't even be complaining. This was a freaking insane race. Wow. Thrilling finish, race of the year. And we're not overstating this. But anyways.
Hey, and speaking of thrilling race of the year, we've got the race winner.
In
here, Daniel Suárez.
All right, everybody, we got Daniel Suárez, this week's race winner on the Dale Jr. Download. Daniel, incredible drive. I said on social media, man, the mental gymnastics and decision-making and mental processing that goes on, not only in that last moment or that last few laps, but the entire race. Have you ever been more challenged mentally as a driver? It's a chess match every corner.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate you. But let me tell you, that race was, I don't know why, but it was different. It's not the first time that we have raced in Atlanta with this package. It's been already, a handful of races there. But this race, for some reason, the intensity, it was so different. As you know, some of the rules changed a little bit with the geo of these cars in this package. And I think it created this kind of racing that it just gave us more confidence to push around a little bit more. And I'm not saying that we're very, confident with the handling of our race cars, because a lot of people was struggling, including myself at one point. But the intensity of the race in every single stage was pretty high. Like, I'm honestly very surprised we didn't wreck more often, because it was very, very intense racing from start to finish.
Yeah, I was listening to some of the drivers and watching the race myself. You could tell that you had to be really careful what the situations you put yourself in aerodynamically. You didn't know what the cars in front of you were going to do as far as what line they would choose. You didn't know how that might affect your car, and also cars being around you on your door, right behind you. How difficult is that? Because we watched the runs, we watched the passes, the side-by-side and the crashes and all that, and it looked amazing, but you really did have to be careful about how you trailed the car in front of you most particularly, so that you didn't lose the nose or slide up into the car in the outside groove. How challenging was that?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. These cars, they just react in ways similar to the cars that already you race with us in the Cup Series. but in some other instances, they also react very different. Like, for example, the move that so many drivers were doing, including myself, to go 3 wide top and get in somebody's right rear. Well, that's a very, 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 very good move. But also, if you get to a spot where you are not far ahead enough, the car that is behind, the car that is making the move, gets extremely free, and all that is error. So just situations like that, already looking for error a little bit. The racetrack is fairly narrow. Like I just can't believe at one point we're 4 wide. When I thought we were gonna wreck, I actually start checking out a lot. I mean, I was just waiting for the wreck, and it didn't happen. So, honestly, big credit to every single driver, just to keep the cars going straight for that long, because I know there were a lot of cars with contact, including myself. I got a little bit of contact in the incident in lap number 2, but overall I felt that for the kind of racing that we experienced, we didn't have a lot of accidents. That's my perspective. But yeah, the cars were easy to drive, and I thought that for the kind of race intensity that we were having, I thought we were going to be wrecking every 20 laps.
Yeah. So the drivers, there was a lot of concern and probably well-deserved concern when they talked about reconfiguring Atlanta. Everybody loves that old surface that we used to have there. But we're 2.5 years in, or beyond 2 years. I heard a lot of drivers say they had fun. They had a lot of fun. They don't want to do that every week, but they certainly did have more fun, I think, than they anticipated. Is that something you think that was pretty widespread in the industry? Did every driver out there really have a good time?
Honestly, man, I really enjoy it. I enjoy it because it's not a super speedway, but it's not a mile and a half. It's a truly a hybrid. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it drives a little bit like a super speedway, but the distance and the space that you have is not like Daytona, and it's not like Talladega. So everything happens so quick, and the runs that you get, oh my God! I mean, the runs are huge. They are sometimes they are way too big, and the reason of that is, I think, it's just because everything is narrow. I was explaining to our friend the other day, it's like comparing Dover and Bristol. And Dover being the super speedway and Bristol being the craziness. I think that's Atlanta. Yeah. And in my opinion, the old Atlanta was a lot of fun as a race car driver, because it was a challenge. I mean, you experienced that one. It was a challenge. It was difficult. You were sideways. You had to manage your tires. It was great feeling to drive the old Atlanta. But this one is so different, and it creates such a good racing product that I enjoy it, honestly. I wouldn't mind to have a second Atlanta, honestly. Like, I mean, I know we have a second Atlanta, but another racetrack, this kind, because I felt that it's not super speedway, but it's not a mile and a half. So this kind of hybrid, actually, I think that it produced amazing racing. I mean, all I have seen, maybe I'm a little biased already because I ended up winning the race, but all I have seen from friends and social media and stuff is that people just love the racing, love the intensity. And in reality, we're going to go to Las Vegas, and the racing is going to be amazing, but the intensity won't be as high as it was a few days ago.
That's a great point. That is a great point. I agree with you. I could see Marcus considering, moving Texas in this direction. There's been some considerations around Texas reconfiguring, but he's kind of been patient about that, waiting to see this current surface and as it ages, whether Texas will provide the type of racing we're looking for. But I want to move on and ask you made a crew chief change in the off season. I think that anytime that I had a crew chief change, those aren't easy to do. You had a great relationship with Travis Mack, who was your crew chief for the last year or two, but there is always this idea that the new guy's going to come in. He's going to, we're going to take what we have and we're trying to make it better. There's going to, I'm hoping to feel when I drive the car an improvement, a change, a difference, something. The communication is going to be different. You're hoping that this is going to work out. So you're a couple races in. I know it's only Daytona and Atlanta, but how do you feel about that change so far?
Yeah, listen, you know this because already you also have a great relationship with Travis. It was very difficult. It was very difficult because Travis was not just my teammate, but he was also my friend, and he is still my friend. And I care about him. I care about his family. We're good friends, not just on the racetrack, but also outside the racetrack. Um, but the reality is that last year we just did not perform the way that we were wanting to perform, and I'm not blaming on him, but we didn't have a solution. We didn't have a plan. We didn't know how we're gonna fix it. We were heading into December, and the team was almost exactly the same than 2023, and that was concerning because already the entire team, Trackhouse, everyone is pushing to trying to get more results because on the other side, Ross and the one team, they are doing a great job. And the 99, honestly, in the last 2 years has learned so much from the one team because the one team is pretty solid. So I start getting pressure. Everyone start getting pressure. Sponsors start putting pressure. Hey, what's going on? Why you guys are not winning like the one is doing? And it really put us in a corner where we needed to do something. And Matt Sudarsky, well known as a Squid, he came available, and I didn't know a Squid. I have had maybe one conversation with him before December, and everyone had very, very high comments about him, how smart he is, how he was gonna be able maybe to bring a change to the group. And so far, honestly, like you mentioned, we have had a couple races in super speedway style, but he has brought a different dynamic to the team. He's a different guy. He's different. He's very quiet. Travis was the opposite. He was very outspoken, which I love that. Squid is very, very quiet. He's very engineer driven, but he's very smart, extremely smart, and also he's very, very well prepared. I am actually impressed how well prepared he is heading into the races. How much knowledge he has heading into the races. He feeds me a lot of that information, and so far, honestly, things are going very, very well. And also we put a lot of work in the off season. In the off season, we got busy working to trying to build this chemistry because we didn't want to spend 6 months trying to build this communication. And as you know, my English and my understanding is not is not normal. So I had to make sure that we're building this relationship.
You have spent the last couple of years as a driver who, is grinding and working to make the playoffs. The whole year, the whole regular season is this massive effort to find your way into that group. You and a lot of teams are often, sort of in that category, either in the top 16 or on the fringes of that, working all year long. This year, you're 2 races in, you have a win, you're locked in. There won't be any way that you don't make the playoffs. I think I could say that confidently. Have you had a minute to really consider how much pressure maybe that takes off you? I wonder now, knowing you and thinking about you and how you approach your job, whether you feel any less pressure, because you're still in this mode. I think when I talk to you, of I need to prove it. I need to prove more. I need to prove more. I need to win next week. I need to win the next one. I need to win 5. I need to win 10. And maybe you don't feel less pressure being locked in, but just having to be able to go to each race from here on out in the regular season, not worrying about playoffs, will be nice.
Oh, it's definitely nice. It's definitely nice to get the first win this early in the season. With that being said, honestly, I have not thought on playoffs in the last 3 days once. I haven't thought about it because the way I'm thinking on this is, and I mentioned this to Squid, my new cruise ship, and I mentioned to the entire team. I say, hey guys, I feel that I've been an okay driver, a good driver. We've been an okay team. we have spikes, we get a pole position, we win one race a year, things like that. And some people may be happy with that. I'm not. I'm not here to be the guy that, oh, he's winning one race. When we win, we make a big party. That's not the goal. For me, that's not the goal, because I know that to be able to contend for a championship, you have to win between 3 to 5 races. That's what you have to do. If you can win between 3 to 5 races, you can actually have a real shot for the championship. You have points, you have confidence, you have momentum, you have a lot of things. And before we hire Matt, I said, Matt, this is what I want to do. Is this what you want to do? Are you committed to do this with me? Because I'm not okay being a good driver. I want to be a great driver, and I want to be in that next step of those group of drivers like William Barron, Kyle Larson, all these guys that when they win, nobody's surprised. They're expecting it.
Gotcha.
That's my goal. That's my goal. And, I've been working very hard on this, but it's not easy, man. It's not easy because, as you know, in the Cup Series, every single driver is talented. Every single driver is gifted. You have to build that group around you. You have to build that communication around you. And yeah, maybe the last 2 races, they have been super speedways, but man, we got the stage points in the duels. We got the stage points in both stages in Daytona. We were running up front in Daytona. We're running up front in Atlanta. The team is different. I'm happy where we're at, and I think that we're making steps in the direction that we were expecting in the offseason.
Man, I appreciate your time today. I know that you all have a lot going on, a lot of meetings and preparation leading up to every race, and we just thank you for giving us a little bit of your time this morning. Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on getting yourself locked into those playoffs. I know you're going to go out there and try to win some more races this year, and I got to say, man, your work ethic, your determination, your will, I've seen it ever since you've came up through the K&N and the Xfinity series. You have really, really been tenacious to achieve your goals and what you believe you're capable of doing, and it's impressive and fun to watch, bud. And that rubs off on everybody around you in the industry. So we appreciate you. Thank you, Daniel, and good luck going forward, bud.
Thank you so much, amigo. Really, really appreciate all your kind of words coming from you. You know how I appreciate that, and thank you for having me, man. Hopefully, you have to invite me more often with a few more good races.
You betcha, buddy. You win some more races, we'll get you back on here. Thank you, bud. We'll see you.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Man, awesome to talk to Daniel. Daniel, such a great guy. I've actually gotten a chance to, I'll say this. So, you get all the drivers together, and you're some of these guys are hard to talk to.
Yeah,
they really are. Daniel's not that way. Every time I see him, he's always happy to see you. One of those kind of people, and I like those kind of people. They're happy, happy to see you when you run into them, and just easy to talk to. He reminds me of in his, where he is in his career, and him talking about wanting to win more races. He reminds me of a young Joey Logano.
I was gonna say Joey Logano. I was gonna guess the same thing.
And I don't know, Daniel's not young, but he reminds me of where kind of Joey was when he too was sort of like. We know now what he was capable of, but he was struggling to get those results. And Daniel's determination and not give up attitude, and I know I can do this, and I'm going to work hard as I have to work to get it, and I'm going to tell everybody around me that this is what I want to become. Those kind of people make those things eventually happen.
Yeah, so, I love his mindset.
Yes. I loved his honesty there. Like he even said, we were an okay team. I was an okay driver. Like this is not the standard that we want to set. Like that surprised me. I feel
he's a realist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that about people, man. When they're on it, they get to give an honest assessment. Congratulations to Daniel. That's just a good story. Mm-hmm. Crazy finish, and people talk about that. Mike Joyce said it was the greatest finish he ever called or ever seen that didn't involve cars crashing across the finish line.
Sure, yeah.
Daniel Suárez will forever be the winner of that moment, the big, the big, the guy that gets the trophy. it's kind of like when they say once you win the Daytona 500, you're always a Daytona 500 champion.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're, a Winston Cup champion, you always be in that group, Hall of Famer. Well, Daniel's tied to that race for the rest of his life.
Yep.
I saw you tweet a lot about the broadcast.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I enjoyed the race. I thought the booth was great. Harvick's done a great job of sort of rounding out that booth, and in his analysis of the car, and as he knows it, he's drove it, is awesome. I'm really tuning in to what he's telling us to try to learn myself about what some of the things that I don't know about the car. And so, it's important to listen to Daniel there tell us about what that's like to get on the outside of another car and how the car can change and balance and why. And so, those are some things that Harvick brings that I love. And Harvick has tons of confidence. But as he's getting more comfortable in the booth, he'll be more comfortable with sharing his opinion, trusting to say what he has on his mind, and that's just going to be good for all of us. I had a lot of fun, honestly. Not that anybody said anything that made me feel like I needed to say this, but I didn't have a drop to drink, no beer or anything all day long, and which I'm kind of regret. But I was watching my kids this weekend. Amy was going to the beach, and so I was trying to be good, and but I had a blast sitting there watching that race, eating peanuts and drinking a Sundrop. But
I think there's one thing I want to say about Atlanta is that I see a lot of people on Twitter say that, they're tired of the quote-unquote gimmicks, right? And we saw Bristol Dirt. We saw, the Roval could be in that category, right? And I thought that Atlanta was going to be another gimmick track. And so this weekend proved me wrong. Like, I'm happy to know that this is a racetrack where real racing is going to happen. It's not some fabricated thing, that there's good product on that track every time we go there.
All right. So I agree. I knew when they reconfigured this racetrack, everybody was going to bitch and complain about it because they're making it too narrow and new pavement, boo-hoo. But after it wears or after it ages, and it's going to age fast, it's in the sand, right? If you drive around that racetrack, ain't no grass, ain't no mud, ain't no red earth. It's freaking sandy. And so anytime you have a racetrack in that environment, when the wind blows, it's literally just sandblasting the surface year round, right? In a very, very slow process of it. But that, the bleaching heat of the sun and all of that, the elements just going and going and going year round, just kick the ass of that surface, and it's going to be incredible and get better and better. And before you know it, man, it'll be old Atlanta again. And
it's now high banked and faster.
Yeah, it'll be a faster old Atlanta. I raced there in 2000, and I remember in 2004 when I won. That's literally only 10 years after it had been repaved. It was repaved in 96. In 2001, it was worn out. Or slick as hell, at least. And that was like, only 4 or 5 years after the repave then. Joe Logano, the gloves. We got to talk. Everybody's talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to repeat everything else going on out there in the industry, but Joey has these webbed gloves, so he wore them in qualifying at Daytona, got the pole. And so, he's got this glove. They filled the fingers with a web material, so when he sticks his hand out the window in front of the window net, it's knocking air off the rear spoiler. The same, they used to, teams years ago came to Daytona with clear vinyl sewn behind the window net.
Oh, man.
And of course, first time somebody saw that, they're like, get that out of here. You can't run that. You can't run clear vinyl behind to block the air from going into the car, right? And have it going down the side of the car. So, this is what happens when you have a race car and you control every inch of it, and you have basically no creativity or flexibility. Teams can't, when teams have nowhere else to look for an advantage, they're going to find these quirky little spaces to work in, right? Like gloves. Every smart person in this industry should be looking at everything. And somebody looked at gloves and said, maybe it was Joey. Maybe Joey's like, I've been sticking my hand out the window. I've been doing this for you guys for several years now. What if we did something to the glove and made it even better, right? Maybe Joey had this idea. Who knows?
I love just watching that creativity work.
Yeah,
1,000%.
Corey LaJoy had some cool gloves. He's wearing the skull gloves. Corey called, so I saw this clip on Instagram about Corey with his truck at Daytona. Post-race Instagram reel about how much fun he had running in a truck race. And it showed him putting on the skull gloves. So I called him. I said, hey, man, you wearing the skull gloves in the truck at Daytona? He goes, yeah. I said, I'm happy about that. He goes, well, I don't want to mess anything up about your charitable thing you do at Bristol every year with the gloves program. I'm like, I don't care. I stole the gloves from a motorcycle racer. Arena cross guy. Yeah, I don't know who it was. Saw a guy wearing them on TV. I thought that's cool. Nobody's doing anything with gloves. I'm going to do something with gloves. So I took the skull gloves from somebody, and he said, man, I'll wear them every week if you don't care. And I'm like, I don't care. Somebody else needs to be doing it. Skull gloves are cool, right?
They are.
Remember when you were a kid? Like you had the skull outfit or the skull shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe you had some skull gloves. I don't know.
And wasn't it because he needed a backup pair of gloves? That's why he ended up wearing them?
Yeah, they didn't have any gloves for his truck, so he found those. And it was a backup pair for Bristol. But anyhow, maybe you'll see Corey continuing to wear the skull gloves. I called it, man. He's going to win a race this year. I was hoping it was Atlanta. That was where I thought it might happen. Maybe it's the second Atlanta.
Could be.
They got to get their cars better. He wasn't even.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to get up there, do what he needed to do. Damn it. We thought this was going to be the year. Let's go, Spire. Get him up there. I called it. I need it to happen.
Well, and speaking of the Logano gloves, you put a tweet out on, Sunday morning saying wrong answers only.
Yes.
What kind of gloves did Joey Logano use? And so
we were going to get our best ones.
We got the best ones. We got, I think, almost 900 responses.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Here's the first one.
Preston, prostate exam gloves are for single use only.
That's pretty good.
I think that was my favorite. Yeah, that wasn't fire resistant.
No, those are not SFI.
Matt said he tried to be Colton Herta cool, and he's wearing the Thanos glove, with the Infinity Stones that fit in them.
Yep. You kids.
Just Jeff. And we got a lot of these responses. It's
the power glove, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I saw that a lot too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a ton of those.
He was planning on using the turbo boost button.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't work getting through all those crashes. He just came from swim class.
That's so great.
That's awesome.
AKA, he could have used those in Daytona.
Damn, dude.
All the rain delays.
Is that not illegal in swim class? What the
I used that this morning in swim class, man.
You used those?
Well, they're a different type of paddle. Okay, by the way, for the podcast listeners, they're the swimming paddles.
Yeah, they're webbed gloves.
It's like a form thing.
Why even swim? I mean,
what do you mean? Why even swim?
I know.
If you're gonna cheat, why even swim?
Michael Phelps doesn't use those.
I'm practicing. I'm not competing wearing these things.
Do you ride an electric bike too when you're on
No.
Strava?
Yeah. He just
I just turn my watch on. I get in the car.
Okay.
All
Everybody on Strava that follows Andrew ought to give him a load of for cheating and swimming.
Yeah. He's got a little electric fan just down there propelling him.
I use fins too, if that helps.
Jeez.
Grumpy, I guess their name is Grumpy. I heard the gloves outbid you on the Titanic Lego set.
That's good.
Did you find a new Titanic set to bid on?
Well, I'm waiting on the son. I want to cuss.
Go for it.
Do it.
Let it fly.
You buy something on eBay. All right, yesterday was Monday. Today's Tuesday. Ship the damn thing already. Let's go.
I know.
Where's my look. God.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna just get to it whenever the freak you want?
Yeah, we got a ship to sink.
Wait, did you get a Titanic set?
When you spend $800 on something on eBay, you expect them to ship it
Yeah.
right the freak away. All right. All right. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Sorry to hear that. NASCAR Chasm responded just with the hamburger helper.
Yeah, maybe there's a sponsored deal in the future for Joey with Hamburger Helper.
Yeah. I heard that Byron's got a Legos deal coming.
What? Does he really?
What I read, some rumor.
Wow.
Dang.
That's awesome.
Neil said they want to bring back Hot Atlanta and a
Yes.
picture of 2 oven mitts.
Yes, try driving. They should make them all drive with those. Maybe that's what some of them were driving with. That's how we had the crashes.
Yeah, there you go. All right, last one.
Joey actually has webbed fingers. That's from Christine. So we shouldn't be discriminating against Joey because he actually has webbed fingers.
He can't help it.
Poor guy.
He's got them all. Oh, that's good. Thanks for sending those in, everybody.
Thanks. Oh, man. That was great. Appreciate everybody.
That was good stuff.
Hey, thanks everybody playing along, being a good sport. And if you thought yours was funny as and it didn't get read, don't keep trying. Just give up. Just give up.
Dang, man.
I'm sorry.
So only if only those 9 people can respond again.
Yeah, that's
moving
it.
forward.
Yep.
The truck race. Let's talk about the truck race.
Okay.
Fuel mileage, single file, high line, and a roof flew off the truck. The one thing that I would say is, for the truck and the Xfinity race, we just need to change the stage lengths. That's it. We don't need to. I know that NASCAR's going to try to look at everything, and they may change spoilers and splitters and stuff on Xfinity. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But I think if we just change the number of laps to just take them out of the fuel range, right? Either go shorter, go longer, whatever. We still can't control where cautions fall, so we still may fall into a fuel mileage race. But let that be fate, right? Let's not determine that by the length of the stage. Let's not start a stage where they're like, oh, we're 2 laps short, so we're going to have to save fuel.
Yeah.
With that said, one thing about the truck race, the roof on the truck, right? They said a piece of debris hit it, and that's why it deflected or deformed. We've seen teams do that intentionally to gain downforce. I don't care whether they were trying to do that or not. I think that going forward, when a car has that happening, it has to get black flagged.
Mm-hmm.
Black flag the car, truck, whatever, and it has to come down pit road and get that fixed. That roof coming off and I'm not telling NASCAR anything they don't know. It's dangerous, right? Okay, that thing going up into the stands, oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about it. But so I think going forward, we saw it. Everybody saw it. We were talking about it on Twitter. It's this thing is going on for laps and laps and laps, right?
Right.
Black flag.
Yeah.
Hello. Hey, come to pit road. Right?
Should have been.
Don't they do that when equipment, other pieces of the car flapping around are loose? Like I feel like I always see that at Daytona with like bumpers flying around.
I don't know if you
black flag
remember
people coming in.
Chase Elliott at the Roval when he got spun out by Harvick, and he had that big old piece of his sheet metal hanging off the back, and he didn't get black flagged for ever. So I don't know.
Hey, speaking of Twitter, what did you think of NASCAR and Fox's camera work?
Oh, that
did I get it right?
That one. Yeah.
Nah, that one didn't get me.
Shoot.
Man, I couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. And I, since right now I'm not working for any specific network, I felt like that allowed me to be a little more sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there's a couple things about that. I'm not picking on Fox. I'm not saying they do things differently than NBC did things. I am always of the opinion that getting more cars on the screen is a good thing.
Right.
Especially when all of those cars are doing some things, racing, battling, right? the more cars you can put on the screen, the more I, as a broadcaster, can talk about. Look at that, right? And if they're not on the screen, I can't say, hell of a battle right there when you can't even see it at home, right? So there's a couple things. I've talked to Letard about this. He believes that it's – now, fans will say, look, it's a week-to-week issue, and I get that. But Atlanta, it's a very unique situation because we now have a 1.5-mile racetrack that races like a Daytona Talladega where they're packed up, but we have 1.5-mile camera locations.
Right.
And we're shooting it like a 1.5 miles. Right.
That's actually I did not think of that.
Yeah. And so I think that now that we know what Atlanta is, we need to rethink about camera locations and how we want to shoot that race, right? So that we can get a little bit wider. We need to back up a little bit. Some of those cameras can't get wider. They're so close to the action, they can't back they can't back the shot up. And so you'll see it, man. They'll be on these cars and the cars will come down the first straightaway, and as the cars are coming toward the camera, when they get closest to the camera, they fill the whole screen up, and then they go back away. You can tell that the guy running the camera, he can't zoom out any further. So I mean, there's something to rethink there about Atlanta, but I'm always of the opinion, like, put as much on the screen as you can. I don't want to be in helicopter all race. I don't want to be, looking from the blimp the entire day. But especially on restarts, we got the whole field jumped up. We're going to have all kinds of chain reaction things happening. Something that happens up front is going to affect the guy in 20th. I want to see it on the screen so I can talk about it.
Right.
Show me every car you can possibly show me on a restart for at least a lap and a half before I feel good enough that they've sorted it out. And then we can start to focus more on a specific group of cars. And so we've always talked about that. When I first got the job at NBC, that was one of the first things that Burton, Letart, and Rick told me. Hey, you're gonna hear us say we need to get wider. We need to get wider. We need to get wider when we're talking to our team in the TV compound. This is what we're talking about. This is why you need to join us in that conversation, right? And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I got it. So there were some moments during the race where we'll come off of turn 2 and we got a shot that has the top 12 in it. And as they're coming toward us, the shot morphs into basically just 3 cars toward the front of the pack. And I'm like, damn it, I really wanted to continue to watch that battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th. But also, I would love to still see the front lead car, right? And that's what I'm looking for. Is like, give me that pack coming down the front straightaway into 3 through turn 4 the whole time, right? So I can see, because then, they're coming down the back straightaway, right? Coming off of 2. 12 cars on the screen. Battles for position throughout the top 12. They're coming toward us. When they got in front of us in turn 3, it was 3 cars on the screen, the first 3 in the pack. We followed them through 3 and 4, and then we cut to the 10th place car wrecking. He's already wrecked. And I'm like, damn it, I knew. I didn't. But in my mind, I'm like, I knew that was going to happen. Damn it, now, how did it happen? If it had been on the screen with everybody else, I would have seen it play out live.
Yeah.
And so, whether they're truly capable at all times of giving me as a fan and a viewer that, I'm not entirely sure. My bitching and moaning is probably for nothing a lot of the times. But I know that sometimes, they can get a little wider, right? And I'm just asking for it. But I've never felt comfortable saying that publicly until now.
You mentioned, like, when you first stepped in the booth, they're like, you got to watch the monitor here, and, like, we're hoping to get the camera to be wider. I think it was Harvick who I think even admitted himself, oh, sorry, I was watching the racetrack. I wasn't actually watching the monitor on the broadcast. And he reacted to something that TV actually didn't capture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'll say you're. I like to look. I will always. If I continue to broadcast in NASCAR, I want to be at the racetrack. If they ever, I'm never going to work a job where they're like, man, we're going to have you here in Charlotte and call the race from this remote location. I need to see the track. I need to see the energy. I need to feel the fans. All that really makes me better. I'm a fan. I want to be at the race watching it. And I want to look out that window and see the race because, I'm watching program. I'm watching what you're seeing at home. But I need to look and say, hey, man, is the seventh place car catching the sixth place car? Is that where we need to take the cameras? And then I can get in talk to the producer and say, I think there's a great battle happening or about to happen. So let's try to get there in the next lap or two because it's developing. We want to put every battle on the screen. There's races. We're not going to have that problem in Atlanta, but we'll go to Vegas this weekend, right? And maybe there's a long green flag run. They get very spread out. Dude, you're looking for battles.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to tell the camera guys what battles are about to happen so they can put that battle on the screen because we need to show cars racing side by side, passing.
Definitely.
Right? And if there's a pass for position in the top 10 and the TV viewer at home didn't get to see it, that's bull crap, right? We don't want that to happen, right? And so, that's that's something you're doing in the booth all the time is actually trying to look out. And to Harvick's credit, I mean, you see something happening and you react to it a lot of times, not knowing what's on the screen, but sometimes that's okay. When I was a kid growing up, they always told me, don't react to anything that's not on the screen. The viewer can't see it at home. That's wrong. Don't do that. I don't believe in that. I think that's BS. I'm going to react if I see something happening that's not on the screen. I don't think that's a rule that I'm going to abide by. And so, because growing up in the 80s, you didn't get every race on TV.
Radio.
You listen to radio,
mm-hmm.
right? And radio is telling us a story about the battle for the lead or whatever's happening. They're telling a story about a car, a driver, or something happening. And a guy on the other side of the racetrack snaps into the picture with we got a crash.
Yeah.
Right.
That was that was magic. As a kid, that was insane. You couldn't wait to hear what come next. Who was it? Who was in it? How bad was the wreck? And those are the moments that were incredible as a listener playing with your Matchbox cars on the floor in the living room. And that's what I think is fair game and fun to recreate in the booth. It's actually fine if we're watching the battle and I holler, we got a car in the wall. It's not on your screen, but we're going to get there. But I want you to know right now that there's a freaking wreck happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I'm not going to wait for it to come onto the screen and then react to a crash that's already halfway developed.
Right.
So, I don't know.
You break that rule a lot.
I don't care. That's the way I'm going to do it. And, and if I want to do it that way, that's the way I want to do it. And that's the way I like to do the job. I don't know that I would want to do the job otherwise. So,
good stuff.
Yeah, anyhow. The Xfinity race, we talked about that truck race being a fuel mileage event. So was the Xfinity race. And it didn't work out for Junior Motorsports. We had a terrible series of events late in the race. The 9 car of Brandon Jones did come to pit road to get fuel, which was the right call, and was going to restart on that inside line with a great shot at it, but got a flat tire. So the 48 ran out of gas. We went to go around him and made contact and cut a tire. So that hurt Brandon's opportunity just at a good, decent finish. But the other guys, they ran their cars out of gas. It was frustrating. And I texted a buddy of mine Tim Duggar, we were talking during the race, and I said, the 21's going to win. This is just, you get this feeling that he's going to drive through all the muck and win the race, and he does. The debate I think that we should have on the show is this, all right? And this is for the viewer, just for listeners, viewers, whatever, all right? Hindsight is easy to make this call now, but if you say you got 4 race cars in the field, you're running 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th all day long, right? And you're about a lap and a half short or 2 laps short on fuel to get to the end. Do you tell your drivers to try to save the fuel to try to make it the distance? Or do you tell them, run your ass off? If you can go to the front, drive to the front. Burn all the fuel. If we run out of gas, we run out of gas. That's sort of the debate. And I think that now you've got to be willing, if you make the decision to go and run hard, you got to be willing to be the fool when you run out of gas and no one else does, right? But I would rather, who were they talking about at the end of that race?
Jesse Love.
Austin Hill won the race.
Yeah. And they're talking about Jesse Love.
Yeah.
So especially on social media.
Right. So Jesse Love run hard, led all laps, and he had a fantastic race car. Credit to RCR. The 2 car was the best car in the field, we think. The 21 might have been as good, but he was saving fuel and riding part throttle and so forth. But the 2 drove to the front every chance he got, led every lap that he could, and we're all talking about him, right? And so that's what I would rather be the case. Look, maybe we get lucky and the yellow comes out and we get the fuel and we, now we got the track position and the fuel to go out there and not look like idiots because we ran hard. But I would rather try to be moving forward, try to be trying to get to the front. And if we run out of gas, we run out of gas.
This is where I think I disagree with you.
Okay.
I look at that race and see Austin Hill like, dang, he ran a smart race. I look at Jesse Love running like hell, leading laps, and running out of gas is like, well, rookie mistake.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, Austin Hill's sitting there with the trophy.
I don't think that's a rookie mistake. I think you go out there and you run your ass off as long as you can.
I think he misspoke. I to your point, now look.
But like you used the word like run like hell, you may look like a fool. Like
conventional wisdom says save the fuel.
Right.
Yes. Like common sense says save the fuel. But damn it, that's boring.
But boring wins you the race, man.
Yeah, but it didn't win us. We did it, and it didn't win us the race. We were invisible. So you're taking also the chance. Look, if you don't, one guy wins the race.
Right.
The entire field, besides the 2, was saving fuel.
Right.
So it didn't work out for everybody. A large majority of the people that chose this strategy remained invisible the entire day.
Yeah.
And got nothing to show for it. That's my argument. Is like, are you okay with basically being anonymous the entire day? Are you okay with being anonymous, making no waves? Your partners, your team sitting on pit road going, well, hope this works out. You know, this is not exciting. There's no buzz. You create no buzz. None of your drivers are building confidence. They're just out there just holding position in formation. It does, for me, I think the gamble for me that we may run out is worth it because, man, if my guys could go up front and be like, hey, we had control of it. We were here. Boy, we ran fast. We ran good. Man, I felt great. I felt awesome about my car or the way I drove. You at least get some of that out of the day, right? So you can move forward long term. I think that's good. So, that's the debate, I think, internally that I'm having with no engineer, no crew chief. I sat on the couch, right? I didn't go to the racetrack.
Yeah.
So this is easy for me to sit here and say, oh, I would have done this. Woo.
Right.
No crew chief, no engineer, none of those people that are at the race are going to be reckless with with strategy. They're all going to do the smart, common sense thing. That's of course. But I'm just thinking, I believe that it will evolve away to the other way, right?
To what? Like what?
To the reckless way.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. Listen. If we're all doing the same thing, we all can't succeed. And so some of the industry will fan off into these alternate strategies and then make it work, and more people will move in that direction. And it'll cycle. Everything cycles. The whole everything in the ecosystem is a cycle, right? So I think that this strategy of common sense, playing it conservative, being smart is the norm today, but maybe like drivers and their etiquette. So, Suarez tells us the drivers were driving very intense, out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not in the last? So think about Mark Martin, the way he used to drive, and he taught everybody to drive the same way. We all molded into that Mark Martin, let him go. You're faster, I'll let you pass, I'll pass you later. Everybody take care of each other. Ooh, don't get too close, don't race too hard. Everybody went in that direction. And now they're all starting to ebb and flow into the other direction of intense, run through you, push you out of the way. I don't care.
Right.
I'm gonna do it. Look at the trucks, Xfinity. They're crazy.
Sure.
Madness. Well, the Cup guys also have lost some respect. There's less respect. There's less taking care of each other. There's more, I'm out for me. This is for me. I'm doing this for me. Hell with you. And so while that's what I mean in the change of culture, the change of thoughts, decisions, judgment, values, all those things, I think I'm hoping, man, that like fuel mileage racing and sitting there and, oh man, we're 5 short, we need to ride 20% throttle in 10th place. Who wants to do that? We're at a race.
But if you have to do it to win the race,
no one said you had to do it.
So what would be the situation where
you're 5 short? Run your ass off. Hope for a caution.
I mean,
that's what we did.
That's a strategy, sure.
That's what they did in the 70s and 80s. Nobody was out there going 20% throttle. Boy, I got y'all.
There's always going to be that team that's going to save fuel, and it's going to benefit them one way or another.
Maybe.
I remember when the first time we started shutting the cars off under caution.
I think we got smarter.
Yes, we got smarter.
Okay.
Right? And we moved into this direction real heavy. Save, conserve. And I think it'll go back in the other direction of, well, if everybody's going to do that, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm driving my ass off. Simon Pagenaud, Indy 500. They told him, Simon, you're short on gas. You're running too hard. He's like, I don't give a shit. And he wins the damn Indy 500.
Yeah. That's what you want, right? That's what you want
the
from
way
your
you
driver.
go.
Listen, I am not
That's the way
arguing
you go
against.
out.
I'm
you
not
go out on top.
Yeah, guess who went out on top this weekend?
But here's the question.
Austin Hill.
He
saved fuel.
He fell into that.
Come on.
Is Jesse Love's sponsor upset at all?
No.
I don't think so either. I don't think that, but I think that the person in 20th riding around at half throttle might be. I don't know. Like if I was a sponsor, I'd be like, get your ass up there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If that's the way you want to look at it, sure, but can you make everyone happy in terms of like, did Austin Hill make his sponsors happy for most of that race until the end?
I'm sure he did, but he has the benefit of winning. But the guy in second place.
And and again, there's only one winner, and there were a lot of people on Austin Hill's strategy that did not win the race, but ultimately
everyone was on that strategy. It wasn't a lot of people.
But Jesse Love, man.
One guy.
Okay. But you're saying you would like to have your guys run more like Jesse Love.
I'm just nope. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to get into debate over what the crew chiefs shouldn't do.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I want us to debate. I want fans to debate whether if they own the team, would they say, man, we're going for broke every lap, running your ass off. I don't care what the fuel mileage is. Or are you going to be, no, we're going to try to save fuel. We're going to try to get to the end. Who would you be?
I think we know where we stand.
Yeah.
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 you would save and I'd run flat out.
I'll tell you right now, man, if I was at the track on that pit box and a crew chief turned around and said we're one short, I would be like, yeah, okay, save.
Okay.
But sitting at home and then watching it all play out, I'm like, man, that sucked. Why, we should just run hard, you know? I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Armchair quarterback here.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad, I'm glad we're gonna go to another racetrack and try again. I mentioned that Amy was out of town. She was hesitant to go. Leaving the girls with me for the entire weekend. She left Thursday, came back Sunday. I think it was my first full weekend with both the girls. I took them down to South Park Mall to American Dolls store. That was a great hit. Interesting. Denny Hamlin was a little bit too honest, maybe.
Yep.
This week on his podcast about bathroom situation.
Yeah, he let it all
the
go.
race car. Yeah. Well, I didn't have anything like that going on, but as I'm driving to South Park, it's freaking 50-minute drive or something like that. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to use the bathroom, and I've got a situation here. A dad with two girls, a 3 and a 5-year-old, going to the mall. What do you do?
I don't know. What
Oh, yeah.
You don't know? You don't know what would you do?
I have not been in that situation.
Yes.
I mean, my mom has
I would probably
brought me into the women's room.
I would
and-
look for like a family restroom, probably.
They don't have those. Those don't exist.
They don't exist at malls?
Family restrooms?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Come on. No one here?
I
Sure.
mean, there's the big, ones.
I
but I don't
ran
know
into
that they're
one.
there.
I ran into one like the other day.
Where?
It was at like some sort of restaurant. There was like a men's room, a women's room, and like the family restroom.
What is the the Truman Show? Was this a Truman Show?
yeah.
Or the,
Family room.
yeah.
Yeah.
Family restroom.
There's a couch in there. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
place
fun.
to-
It's enjoyable.
The only thing I could do is to take them with me. So all three of us in the men's stall in the Macy's.
You picked the
Luckily-
Macy's.
Well, I thought I wanted a men's bathroom that was empty,
Yeah.
and I figured there wouldn't be many guys shopping the Macy's store at 3 in the afternoon. So that was entertaining, to say the least. So we're sitting in there, each of us using the bathroom, and then some men started coming into the bathroom, and they're giggling.
The men?
The men are.
No, the girls. The girls are giggling. And I'm like, shh, shh, shh. And then they start shushing each other. They're like, shh, 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 you shush, you shush. And I'm like, holy smokes. This is more than I can take. But it was funny. I just had to laugh. We get out of there, walk right to the American Doll store, and they picked out dolls. Everybody's fine, no tears. We go home. Played some iRacing, some Hell Let Loose. Crashed a lot on iRacing. Sorry to everybody who was part of that. But and then so I had a long list of things that we were gonna do. We were gonna have a blast, and we did. We had fun. We got ice cream. We did all the things. But right around Saturday afternoon, late, I got burnt out. And I'm like, and I'm looking around, and I'm in sweatpants. They're in PJs. It's all to hell. Nothing productive, right, is happening. And it's just cartoons everywhere, every TV. And so, but luckily, man, I was like, man, Amy gets on the plane. She's going to fly home, and she's going to be home at lunch on Sunday. And so like an hour before lunch, man, I got a bath. I took the girls upstairs, brushed their hair. We looked like we was ready to go to Sunday school. And she walked in the house.
Were they like overdressed for being at home?
No,
Yeah.
not too bad. Not too bad. But it was like, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Going to the grocery store? Where you want to go?
Yeah.
Did Amy suspect anything was? Or she's like, hey, this is
she
normal.
ain't said a word.
Until we release this clip.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought, she'll come in and she'll see something I don't see.
Right.
What a mess. You know, that's messy. Clean. Why don't you clean this up? Because, man, you're in it. You're in the house there for the whole weekend. You stop seeing the messes.
Yep.
Right? Hey, look, nothing's messy. Oh, yes, it is, once you point it out. But no, we were good. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Ask Junior today. I'm excited for everybody to hear today's show. We've had fun clowning around and being idiots and talking about Atlanta. We had our winner, Daniel Suárez, call in, so it's been a fun morning. This Wednesday's guest is Waddell Wilson, famed Hall of Fame engine builder. But we're doing some Ask Junior right now. I want to say hey to all the NASCAR fans out there. Now you can get the speed that you need on and off the track with Xfinity Mobile. It's the fastest mobile service with 5G and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. And with its nationwide coverage, you'll know that it's always going to come through in a clutch. Make the switch today, and you can save with Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity is a proud premier partner of NASCAR. I just read that they may be working on an extension to continue their partnership in the Xfinity Series, which would be extremely nice.
Be awesome.
It would. They've been great to us here at Dirty Mo Media and at the Dale Jr. Download, and we're thankful for that. So anyways, Andrew, you got some great questions today.
We've got some good ones today.
I'm
yes. This first question comes from Corey, and it's kind of a follow-up from last week. Someone asked, do the girls play any sports? Would you be a good, youth sports coach?
I think so.
Yeah?
Soccer.
You'd be a good soccer coach?
I went with, I've been around a buddy of mine. He's got a couple girls, and he'll go to the games with his girls. And so I went with him a time or two, and that looks like a lot of fun. And I think going with my friend has helped me understand that, okay, you got to put a 5 or 6 year old out on the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think when you put them in the yard and you're like, all right, kick the ball this way and that way, they do a great job, right? Kick it in the net, great. Okay, we've got it. We figured it out. Then you put them in the game, and it ends up being like just this pack of girls, and they're all just kind of kicking, and the ball's like just jiggling around like a pinball in a machine, and the mob just kind of moves around on this big field, right? And eventually it gets closer to one of the goals, and maybe it goes in, or maybe it doesn't. And it might move around. And it's just kind of jiggling around this whole mob of girls, and it's just kick.
The pack follows the ball.
Everybody's legs are just going, trying to make contact with the ball. And that's the game.
So how would you coach that?
You don't.
You just let it.
I can do that. I can go stand on the sideline with the parents, with a coach on my back of my shirt. I think I could do that.
Okay.
I could coach Little League soccer, or I don't know what they call it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Youth soccer.
Youth
I don't
soccer.
know if there's
youth
official
soccer, right?
Yeah. Would you
I
do a
forget
lot
what
of
they call it.
conditioning? A lot of running drills? No.
I mean, we would do something, but I mean, I wouldn't put too much behind it.
Team's got to be in shape though, man.
They're in shape. I mean, we were all in shape at 5 years old. Come on.
This next question this could be an interesting answer. What's the strangest place you've been recognized before?
I don't know. Strangest.
Almost reminds me of when that hot tub story you told last year in the download. Like places you didn't think you'd be having a conversation about NASCAR with people. Are there any that stick out?
No, not really. I mean, honestly, I'm sorry, man. There's nothing. Yeah, you put me on the spot.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, sometimes no's the best answer you got.
Well, I will say, I'm never in a strange place.
Yeah, so you're just not in strange places.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't think I'd get. I didn't
Dale,
think
where are the weird places you like?
That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm like, I'm trying to put myself in a weird space that I would then
have
remembered being recognized in, and I can't.
But you're not You're in pretty normal places, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Waiting for your Instacart to show up.
I reckon. Yeah. Live a pretty normal life.
There you go.
I mean, I guess anytime you're not in the country, right, and you get recognized by someone who lives locally, you're reminded on like how big the sport can be, right? And so I know that's a boring ass answer, but those are probably the moments where you're like, dang, that's cool, because when we're racing, it's the middle of the night here.
Yeah.
Right? You really got to put some effort in.
Yeah, people are dedicated.
Yeah, to watch the races. Are you watching them delayed all the time?
John is watching this right now live from Australia.
I love that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what time is it?
That's my next goal, is to take my wife and kids to Australia. I've told Amy, I mean, I'm going to take a lot of trips before then that won't be, but I got my kids need to get a little bit older before we can go that far with them, I think. I know that Larson and them guys do it all the time to go race their dirt cars, but I've told Amy a million times how incredibly cool Australia is and how cool the people are there. I just love their approach to life and their viewpoint on things. It's just they're very interesting and cool. And so, yeah, that's glad he's tuned in. I'm looking forward to taking my family there to show them all about it.
That'd be really neat. This next question coming from the YouTube chat from Timothy, and I know you've been busy working around the house. Any house projects that have been going on? At least there was an unexpected one last week.
Yeah, we had some water. We had a water leak. I came home and there's water dripping out of the ceiling in an outdoor kitchen. So luckily, the water was outside, right? Not dripping down inside the house, but it's like outside, down by my outdoor kitchen. It's pouring out of the ceiling, and so a line busted that was going to the kitchen sink. And so my house was built in 2008, and all the elbows and T's in the water are made of copper by this, and and the material deteriorated quickly over 6 or 8 years, and so they're all breaking, right? We went through the whole house. We went through the whole house, tried to replace everyone we could, and found 95% of them, but there's a couple still left. These were these were just coupling that put a line together. It wasn't a T or an elbow, and they were hidden in foam insulation because it was outdoor line. It needed to be insulated, and so we'd have never seen them to be able to know they were there to replace them, right? But there's water coming out of this foam insulation, and I'm like, well, the pipe's busted somewhere in that, so I had to climb up in there with a straight razor and cut the foam off of that line for about 10 feet, the hot and the cold, and replace both of them. The plumber came to replace them, but I found the spot where it was leaking so that we could get that done quickly.
You sprung into action.
I'm a hands-on man. No fear.
No fear. You got to just jump right in.
If you make it worse, somebody can fix it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be scared to screw it up.
Has there been a moment where you've made it worse?
Oh, yeah. I'll tell Amy, like, look, I can fix, out of all the things that break, let me try to fix it. 80% of the time, I will. 20% of the time, I'll make it worse. And we'll get the right person in to fix it.
It's a good ratio.
But I think that's a good ratio. Yeah.
Do you remember the last thing you're like, we need to call the guy now?
I don't.
No.
I mean, it's happened. But, yeah.
They just all mesh together.
Yeah, I don't remember the bad points. I don't remember the things that don't work out.
You don't dwell on the negatives. This next question is coming from Mark, and that's actually funny. We had this conversation in the preseason. They're asking about the Oreo car that has kind of like the Exalta paint scheme colors, like the red and yellow Oreo car, and was wondering if there's any interesting story, and I think there is.
Did we not tell that?
We didn't tell it on the show.
Yeah, so, yeah. These are silly. When I was a little kid, I had a bunch of Matchbox cars, and one of my favorites had that yellow to red fade. And I'd never, if you're someone who loves the design of a race car, you'll remember some of your favorite ones over time and over history. And that little diecast car, I was like, man, that's cool. When they started giving me more freedom on designing my own cars and stuff, I thought,
there it is right there.
Yeah. I thought, I'm going to run that design on a car. I'm going to get it in there somewhere, right? And they came to me and I said, so the Ritz box is sort of similar to that. Those are the Ritz box colors, right? And so, I threw this idea at them. We mocked it up. And I never expected them to approve it, the Oreo and Ritz people. But they did. They're like, oh, great. And I'm like, damn.
I can't believe I pulled that off.
Yeah. And so we took it to the racetrack, and, I think we won. That was one of our 3 in a row, 2002, 2003. And so I ended up running that again in the
Multiple
Exalta
times. Yeah,
car,
right, yeah.
like 2017 maybe?
I think that, around that time.
2016?
17.
Yeah. But, so I was able to get it back out there.
And like, when we were talking about this before the season, just looking at this car, like, nothing about that screams Oreo.
I know it. Nope. I couldn't believe I ran that.
Freaking
I
shocking.
couldn't believe they were like, yes,
Oreo.
we like it. I'm like, damn.
Really?
Who doesn't love a good fade?
Yeah.
Right?
I love those colors, and I loved it on the 2017 car you ran. So,
It's very cool.
It's fun to
Right.
see. Yes. This is a fun one. I think I know your answer. We got time for one more. Bart in the YouTube chat wants to know if you would ever run a half marathon.
No,
No.
not a chance.
Not
gonna
even
do
if
it.
it was with Andrew.
I can't run 2 miles. I got to stop and walk a little bit.
Well, you can do it in 2-mile increments then. You can do it. Put your mind to it.
Is it really a half marathon if you're running it in 2-mile chunks?
It's about the completion, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
people
then-
walk half
well, then-
marathons. You can do it.
All right. Well, then I have ran a half marathon.
Hey,
It took me about 4 years, but I did run one actually. I ran a full marathon in 2017. I ran multiple.
Just with a lot of breaks in between.
In 2017, I'm pretty sure I ran several marathons. Now that we're
oh,
Well,
man.
congratulations.
Hey,
Yeah.
that truck race at Daytona was like a marathon, and they only ran it 2 miles at a time.
hey, I'm not in peak physical condition these days. I rode my bike a bunch, especially that last year of racing in the Cup Series. I rode my bike 2,400 miles in 2017,
Dang,
and then
That's a lot.
and the next year less and less and less until now. Like I might get on it twice this year. I want to ride it more, but I'm lazy,
Well, we'll get you back.
Yeah, but I never loved running. Hated running. Yeah, and I get sore all over running.
Yeah.
Not
Some of
not-
that lasts
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, I don't
It's
want.
hard to shake.
But riding a bike, I don't have that problem, and feel like I'm.
All right.
But I do need to get back on the bike.
We'll get you back. Get on that Zwift.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm set up. I got my work. I got my Zwift. Nobody cares about this. But yeah. I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, man, we're gonna jump up and run a mile," I could do it
Okay.
fast as hell.
What are you doing right
But
now?
I'd nearly die at the end of it.
Yeah. But you would get it done.
But my determination, dogged determination, and willpower would prevail,
Nice.
and I would blister the mile, but I would want to almost nearly die.
Yes. All right. Well, you know what, folks? Tune in next week. Dale's going to run that mile live here on Ash Jr.,
Oh.
and we're going to ask you questions
Yeah,
during
okay.
it.
Brought to you by Xfinity. He's going to do it as fast as Xfinity.
Yeah, you're going to run as fast as Xfinity 5G.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, well, that's a good place for Ash Jr. this week.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks to Xfinity for turning us on to some great service. I'm a customer and have been a customer now for about 4.5 years. It's been great. But we're promoting the Xfinity Mobile, so check that out. 5G service, millions of Wi-Fi hotspots everywhere. Thank you, Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Thank y'all for tuning in here for Ash Jr. this Tuesday. And all right, everybody, it's time for the white flag. Jeff Gluck, Jordan Bianchi recap the action from Atlanta on Sunday night. Jeff Gluck's good race pole was doing incredible numbers the last time I looked at it. I think it's a new record.
4th.
Oh,
overall.
my God. 4th?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's behind 3 Bristol races.
Wow.
But it's the first non-Bristol.
Man, imagine if they put asphalt on Bristol. Denny Hamlin returned from Atlanta and reveals he did something for the first time ever in a race car. You'll have to tune in to see what I'm talking about. But the story, I don't know if incredible is the word.
I shouldn't have written that.
Yeah. Door Bumper Clear had their hands full on the roof this weekend and returned to tell us all about it from their perspective. Another episode of Speed Street drops tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing what Connor and Chase have in store for us. And Dirty Mo Doe with Steve Letarte returns this Thursday, previewing everything ahead of Las Vegas. So it's going to be a full week here on Dirty Mo Media as usual. And tomorrow, again, Whitell Wilson is on the show. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you.